it over to Francisco to get us started.
Okay, yeah, that sounds good. Thanks, Derek, for the introduction. So give me a moment. Let me just share my screen. Share screen number 2 makes it easy. So for this presentation, actually just briefly, let me just scroll all the way back. For some reason it was there. Ended up making a quick, it's going to be a 2-part, right? It's going to be a live demo and it's going to be some of the information going to be provided at the PowerPoint presentation. I expect the PowerPoint to be 15 minutes, 20 minutes or so. Of course, there's going to be, we provided a hyperlink for this. It's also available in the PDF that we sent over in the email. And of course, like Derek mentioned, this is a workshop for Citation Manager tools. And, in particular, this one's going to be on Mendeley. I'm going to be handling the one of the librarians over at the Science and Engineering Library. We also have Joshua here in the chat, in the actual call. And we also have, in total, it's a group of 4 librarians, right? Josh, Alex, Honora, who's the director, and then, me, who's about 2 weeks in, or not 2 weeks, but 2 months in. So I'm fairly new to the actual position. So we're going to be discussing a bit of the agenda. Initially, we're going to give an overview of what, reference managers in general. We're going to be talking about how, they're effectively a library for all your references. We're going to be mentioning how, you can add references or, with the web importer. And then we're going to be moving on to reading some of these applications. Mendeley in particular has a PDF reader installed within the desktop application. Then, of course, one of the applications that, people in general have the most use is the in-text citation when it comes to Word, the ability to automatically generate bibliographies and then citations. And then we're going to be discussing a bit of the benefits of Mendeley in comparison to just other citation managers, where to download the, the 3 main tools, right? The actual desktop application, the web browser and plugin, and then the citation plugin for Word. And finally, like I mentioned, after 15 minutes or 20 minutes or so, we're going to be having a demo for the actual citation manager. So like in general, what's a reference manager, right? It's just a way to just store and organize all of your references in a library. It helps you insert citations, and it also automatically generates a bibliography. It's really cool because Mendeley in general, or Mendeley, the application, allows you to also read PDFs for the articles in there. It's saved onto the cloud. So if something happens to your device, you don't have to worry about losing your information. It's all going to be available, once you get that fixed. And of course, it allows the opportunity to collaborate with other people by being able to make private groups where you can just like upload an article and whatnot. And then from that, you can actually, when you're going into Word, you can specify, hey, I want to cite from this folder. And then, you can decide which ones you want to cite, what papers you want to cite. So, in general, there's different ways to sort articles, right? It's when I was in my undergraduate career, I actually had a difficult time with this because I wasn't aware of what a citation manager was. So I had something going on similar to this. But here in front of you actually have the general UI when it comes to Mendeley. As you can see over at the left side here, you have these collections, it's what they call them. I just call them folders because that's kind of how I see them. And in front of you here, you can see that in addition to actually having folders, you can name them. For example, this is the Science Engineering Library. Within this one, I've actually collected some of the publications from my colleagues. And also at the top here in the tabs, you can see some of the papers that I have open so that I can just flip through and read. You can notice from the file here column, you can see which one we actually have downloaded within the desktop to read. And then this icon here just means that it's available to download. So in general, when it comes to adding citation references or just, papers in general, the web importer will be located right here on top of your desktop or on top of the web browser. It's this little red icon. So whenever you're in a database like Web of Science, for example, or any web page, right, you can click on it. And what's great about this is that you have the option, if it's a database, to just download the metadata involved with the article. If the PDF is available, it's going to be, it's going to be in red. If it's not available, it's going to let you know, hey, this is not available to download in addition to the metadata. The other thing is that you can also save the web page. So for example, if you run a query on Web of Science, you can save the query by just clicking on this. It's going to be saved into your references. You can also specify what location you want to save it in. For example, this paper in particular is being saved into the self-determination folder. And like I mentioned, you also have the ability to read PDFs right there on the desktop application. What's good about this is it depends on your style when it comes to reading papers, right? I like to highlight things, add annotations, add sticky notes, and they have the option right here, when you have your annotations or whatnot, you have your notebooks. It's a bit of a learning curve when it comes to this, but depending on how you want to use the application, it's up to you. And of course, the other thing that people actually enjoy about citation managers is the in-text citation, right? For Mendeley, you have the option of typing in, the author, the title, and whatnot. And it's going to bring them up. You also have the option of looking through folders, right? And then once you find the folder and the citation, you can just check on the box right here, and then insert the citation. And after that, once you're done, you're going to want to automatically generate a bibliography. And to do that, you just go to the More section, insert bibliography, and it's going to be automatically generate wherever your cursor was. And what's really cool about this for some, if you're a faculty member or you're someone who's like looking into publishing, you can also add a custom citation style language, right? And all you need to do for that one is just make sure that you have the citation style language text file available somewhere, or you can just search it up. You can make it, search it up, it's one of the others. And once you have that generated, Mendeley will recognize the language and be able to generate citations for you. So we're going to be briefly discussing some of the benefits involved with Mendeley. Like I mentioned, actually I didn't mention this, but Mendeley is actually owned by Elsevier. And recently they actually went in overhaul and their design about approximately a year ago. They're going into a more simplistic and straightforward design in comparison to some of the other citation managers. They're following the kind of style that Google has, Apple, and Amazon, right, to make icons big and easy and attractive, not very scary. So it's very friendly user. There's a lot of continued customer support, right? In general, I noticed the release notes have about 2 times a month. You get a release note, so you get updates like about 2 times a month. Usually they tend to be minor, right? Some software fixes and whatnot. And another thing that I mentioned, right, there's syncing across all devices, because in addition to downloading some of the applications, like I mentioned, the web import of the Word and then the actual desktop application, you will need to make an account. It takes about 5 minutes, just the regular make an account situation. But once you have that set up, even if your devices gets damaged and whatnot, you always have access to your references through the cloud. So this is actually a very opinionated situation, right? I feel that the layout when it comes to other citation managers is a lot more easy when it comes to Mendeley, right? And I've also in general noticed that students do prefer Mendeley's layout over different citation managers like EndNote and Zotero. And that might be the fact that they're younger, so they're they're more used to Apple and Amazon and the way that they approach design making in general. But there are drawbacks to this, right? Some of the things is that you lose a good amount of the functionality that comes with the different styles. But in addition to that, because of the continued support, you can always expect that eventually they will be adding the functionality into the application sooner or later. So now we're going to be discussing where you can actually download the citation manager. In general, you can always Google Mendeley, download citation manager, and there's going to be the option right here, download Mendeley reference manager. It's available for Mac, PC, and Linux. So pretty much all of the three big ones when it comes to PCs. And it makes it really easy to download the rest of the applications, like the web importer and as well as the Word one, because all you need to do is that you need to scroll up here to the tools. Then you can just click on these and it's going to hyperlink you. It's pretty much just a hyperlink. And it takes you to the location where you can download